Mm, mm. Okay, okay. The talent that we bring in is something serious. Cooking, baking, crafts in the zoo. It's a lot of activities, but you won't get delirious. Since y'all missed us and stand so resilient, welcome back to District E's virtual summer experience. Welcome all back to District E virtual experience. This is week 2. We have so many things prepared for you all today, from learning languages, about crafts, then learning about some baking, a little bit about the law, and as well as those good old pets at the end, guys. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and kick it off with our amazing Councilwoman Cyndi Nguyen. Councilwoman, how you doing this morning?
Uh, I'm doing well. Thank you, Zion. How are you?
Doing good.
So are we ready for our sessions?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, good evening to all. Thank you for tuning in. So today I have the honor of sharing my native language with you all. And I'm going to just basically kind of provide you some basic sound of our language. Because many of you guys grew up, if you guys grew up in New Orleans, I'm pretty sure you have ran across a Vietnamese speaking person, and when they speak, you may kind of feel like the sound of it is different. So hopefully today's session, you'll be able to walk away with kind of understanding or getting familiar with the sound of our language. And I would love to kind of share with you in reference to how we, in the Vietnamese culture, how we um, address each other. And so we don't address each other by our first name, but we address each other by a pronoun. And then after that, we're going to dive into giving you some sort of maybe teaching about how we count from 1 to 20. We'll do 1 to 20 for this session in Vietnamese. So if that is good, then I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with. So in the Vietnamese culture, as I indicated earlier, we reference each other by a pronoun. We do not, many times we don't even know our first name at all. So, but I'll start with grandfather. So we don't call, as I stated, by his first name. I call my grandfather as ông. So, and when speaking Vietnamese, you really gotta be comfortable with your mouth and your lips and move it in a way where you're let it kind of like let it hang loose, right? So I just say and you see how my mouth has moved. It's ONG. So is what we call as referred to as grandfather, or and it's for a male. Okay, so grandfather, grandmother, we would refer her to as bà ngoại or bà. Bà is considered as an old lady. Ngoại is considered as grandmother. So ông ngoại is my grandfather. If I was speaking to another elderly man who is not related to me, I would just refer to him as ông. And then again, as I refer to my grandmother, it's bà ngoại, bà ngoại. And if I was referring to an older lady who is not related to me, I would just refer to her bà. Um, and that's how we refer to ông ngoại is grandfather, bà ngoại is grandmother. So Zion, why won't you maybe repeat what I just say?
Okay. Okay, let's see.
Were you paying attention?
I was paying attention.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Okay, so we said that grandfather is Ong
Ông ngoại,
Ong
ông ngoại.
Ong. Okay.
Yeah,
And
you don't
then
have to really strain your throat. Ông ngoại.
expand my mouth. Okay.
Yes,
Ong
ông ngoại. Yeah,
Ong.
ông ngoại.
And for grandmother, It sounded the same.
Ba ngoại.
Bang Wai. Okay.
Yeah,
Bang Wai.
yeah.
That's all I heard.
So ông ngoại, bà ngoại, and okay. So I'll move on to um, uncle and aunt. So uncle and aunt, depending on the dialect, some people would say bà dì or mợ. There's different pronunciation and there's different terminology. Yes. So bà dì is it's woman aunt when you translate it, because remember you just heard me say bà is for an older lady. So sometimes we would say bà dì. Yi is aunt, so yi. And then uncle is goat. So uncle is goat.
So
So
Bai
I would say goat. I don't say his first name. I would say goat.
Cow. Like uncle,
Goat.
but cow.
Goat.
Ah.
Yep. So that's uncle and aunt. And then for my parents, I would say bo. Bo is dad in Vietnamese. So it's bo or ba. So there's two ways that you could refer to father. Is bo or ba. And then mother is ma or ma. So like my kids, we use ba and ma. Yes. So again, uncle is go. Aunt is z or go. Dad is ba or bo. I call my dad bo, but my kids call their father ba. And it's depending on, and again, the dialect or that you're from. Majority of us refer to ba. In the old days, we always use the dialect of bo. And then mother is ma or man. Okay. And then when we refer to siblings or friends, when we reference to each other, we always refer to auntie. An is for a male, chi is for a female. So like I refer to my husband, it's kind of like honey. So I don't call honey. Well, when I speak Vietnamese to Sean, I would call him An. I don't refer to him as Sean. Uh, in the culture, sometime when you refer to the person's name, that means you're not familiar with that person. So there's no relation or no connection at all. So I would just call Sean An. An can be translated as honey. So A-N-H, An. And then, and you could use An as for older brother, for someone older. And then, so like Sean Jr. is the oldest brother. So Eden and Alex will refer to Sean Jr. as An Sean, or they just call him An. But I think a lot of the Asian kids, they're now so Americanized that they refer to each other by their first name. And so something that we're trying to teach our kids, particularly in the family, that when they're referring to each other, so like Serena is considered she is sister for a female person. Okay. And so, and then you could always, like when I go out in the street, when I go into the Vietnamese community, I don't know their name, but I know them. But I refer to a female person that is older than me or that looks older than me. I would call her Chi. And then if somebody that looks younger than me, I refer to them as M, E-M. So for little sister, it's M. For older sister or a female person that is older is G. And so I'm going to go over. I know we kind of went through some of the pronoun really quick because I know I have time limitation because I know we have another exciting session coming on. So, and ba are older elderly individuals. Is for a male elder. Ba is for a female elder. If it is your grandparents, we would refer to them as wat, ba wat. Now, it also depends on if it's your mother, grandparents, or your father parents. So if it's your father parents, we would refer to it noi. So two different, so maternal and paternal. Maternal is ngoại, bà ngoại. Paternal is nội, bà nội. So the difference is ngoại and nội. That's how you could tell if it's on the mother side or the father side. I know in the American culture, we just refer to as grandparents in general. But in the Vietnamese culture, there's a differentiation between the mother side and the father side. And the mother side is ngoại. So anything that you refer to, particularly elder individual, you would say ông, which is a male elder, and then you add in ngoại to identify that that's your mother's parents. And then for the paternal side, you would add in nội to identify that that's your father parents. So you would say ông nội, bà nội. So that's a two difference in reference to that. For mother and father, it is mẹ or man. For father, it's bố or ba. Okay, and then for siblings, it's always the older sister is called chị. And then the older brother is anh. And then all the little siblings, doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl, you refer to them as em, E-M. So, but that's where we at with pronouns. It's really, I found it to be very personal when you use the pronoun because it shows some sort of connection. So I see Carissa is on, and I know Carissa is probably, I'm going to say that we're probably the same age, Carissa. And so I may refer to Carissa as G, or I may refer to her as M, as a little sister. And then if I see, somebody older, like Zion, I would consider you as M, as a little brother. It doesn't matter if you're female or male, you still use M as for little siblings or somebody that looks younger for now. Once I get rid of the gray, then you and I be at the same level. Okay? But yeah, again, pronouns is how we direct in the Vietnamese culture. We don't call each other by our first name. There's pronouns for every status, from grandparents to parents to uncle, aunt, and so cousins. So cousin is so ha is cousin. So you would put either a little brother or an older brother or an older sister in front of ha. So for instance, so Zion, more than likely, probably back in our ancestor, we probably were related. Okay? And so if we were related, then I would call you M ha. So meaning that you're the little cousin. If you were my older cousin, I would say Anh ha. If you were a female cousin, older, I would say Chị ha. Ha is basically your base word of cousins. And does the dialect sound different? Yeah, Kelly?
Slightly.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, pronouns is how we refer to each other. And just like my dad was just here a minute ago, he delivered our breakfast for us every morning. Soy. That's what we eat. And so I just refer to him as Bo. That's how I call my father. But the triplets and my kids refer to Sean as Ba. But still means the same way. Yeah. So pronouns, and again, I'm gonna at the end, right before we close up the session, I'm gonna repeat the pronoun for those that are just tuning in. They'll be able, and this is recorded, so people can actually go back and be able to hear the sound of different words, because many times you got to hear it over and over. I've been hearing it for over 50 years. So you would think after 50 years I should get it, right? So, but numbers something that, we have in common, both in the American culture. You guys have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In the Vietnamese culture, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. So I went by really fast. I think the English version was probably confusing for you. But so in the Vietnamese culture, so it's mot. It's M-O-T, mot. It's 1. Hai is 2. The triplets are saying the numbers with me in Vietnamese. Ba is 3. Bone, Sean, bone is 4. 5, they said they're getting their Vietnamese and their Spanish mixed up. Oh, this is hard. 5 is năm. 6 is sáu. 7 is bảy. 8 is tám. 9 is chín. 10 is mười. Mười.
I can't do it.
Yeah, so if you notice in the Vietnamese culture, you really got to move your lips and your mouth when you're speaking Vietnamese. I always tell my children, they're born here in America. What I've noticed with them is that they're afraid to really exercise and work the tongue and the lip to really get into our language. And you have to really get into, because if not, the pronunciation is not going to come out. So I'm going to, and you could kind of pay attention to how my mouth moves. I'm not shy. I love my natural language. I try to use it as much as I can. Most of the time cannot, because majority of the people that I represent speaks English. But this is a great opportunity for me to put my language, my native language, to test as well. So it's một, hai, ba, bốn, năm, sáu, bảy, tám, chín, 10. Yeah, it's very simple. When you've been doing it for over 50 years, for almost 50 years, I'm going to say 50 years, you kind of get into the routine. So again, it's một, hai, ba, bốn, năm, sáu, bảy, tám, chín, 10. That's 1 to 10. Carissa, you want to unmute yourself, and do you want to run it and maybe try saying 1 to 10 in Vietnamese, and I can follow along with you. I hate to put you on the spot. Yeah, 40. Well, Carissa, if you're too shy, it's okay. Oh, there she is.
Hold on, with my niece and nephew.
Okay, so do they want to try pronouncing it or saying it?
She said, y'all want to try?
Yeah.
Come on, here we go. You ready?
You go, Ryan?
Yeah.
You see the numbers? You want to do the numbers?
Yeah,
sure.
Let's do it, guys.
You gonna do it?
Một, hai,
Hi.
hai, Ba. Yeah, like hi. H-I. Ba.
Nope, I would not like to.
Y'all still with me?
Yes, they shy.
Okay. Can you guys say ba?
Bear.
No, ba.
Said it.
Bear.
Yeah,
Bye.
ba.
She said,
Bear.
Bone. Bone. Bone.
Bone.
Nam.
oh, numb,
Sáu.
Sáu.
Bảy.
Bảy.
Tám.
Tám.
Chín.
Chín.
10.
Mười.
You guys did great. Let's do it again. Let's do it again, and we're going to move a little bit faster, okay? You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, mode. Hi.
Một. Hai.
Ba.
Ba.
Bốn.
Bốn.
Năm.
Năm.
Sáu.
Sáu.
Bảy.
Bảy.
Tám.
Tám.
Chín.
Chín.
10.
Mười.
10.
Mười.
10.
Mười.
You guys did great. See, even Shauna even recognized, you guys probably speak better, count the number better than Shauna did. And Shauna is born Vietnamese. You guys did great.
And we're mostly Americans.
Whatever. So, what?
they were saying thank you.
Oh, no problem. I'm so glad that you guys tuned in. Now, I'm going to go over the pronouns again. And then just to let you know, I'm going to ask you guys how you guys going to refer. I think, Carissa, you said these are your niece and your nephew.
Yes.
You have your kids with you too?
No, these were my niece and nephews I had brought the day you had seen me.
Oh,
You
okay.
had
So
seen
then
us.
they're
That
going to
was
get
my
to
niece.
know. They're going to get to know how to call you as aunt when we finish the pronoun area. So for grandparents, either on your mother's side or your father's side, you always refer to an older male person as ông. And then you could also refer to a female person, older female, as bà. Now for your aunts, so kids, are you ready on how to call your aunts in Vietnamese? You would say go,
Go.
go. As simple as that.
Go.
Yes, go.
Go.
Yep, and
Go.
you could call your uncle go. Go.
Go.
Go.
Go.
Go.
Go. Go.
So go,
Go.
go,
Go.
and go. And then for your parents, your mother, you could call her ma,
Ma.
and your dad, you could call him ba,
Ba.
ba. And now who's oldest?
Reginald.
Huh?
My big brother.
So you have an older brother?
Yeah.
So you would call him An. An. Now whoever's the baby, whoever's the smallest, they will refer to you as Am. Am. Am.
How?
Not
How
in.
am I a baby?
No, it's Am. Am is for not just for baby. Am is for anybody that is younger.
Right?
Okay.
It's the one that's.
Do you have a big
How am
sister?
I
Is anybody a big sister?
Yeah.
So if you are a big sister, you will be referred to as G.
I'm the big sister.
So then all your little brothers and sisters will call you G. G. You want to say it?
My name is P. Yeah.
Okay. So I think you guys did really good with the pronoun, but I think you guys did better with the numbers. So before I end my session, let's count our numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, in Vietnamese. Are you guys ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Are you
Yeah.
ready? Okay, let's go. You guys got to say it with
Yeah.
Miss Cyndi, okay?
Okay.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Mo.
Mo.
Hi.
Hi.
Ba.
Ba.
Bốn.
Bốn.
Năm.
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 Sáu.
Sáu.
Bảy.
Bảy.
Tám.
Tám.
Chín.
Chín.
10.
Mười.
You guys did great. Thank you so much for signing on with me. So next time when I see you guys, we should be able to go over the numbers again. Okay? Is that a deal?
Deal.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Zion, I'm going to turn it back over to you so you can introduce our Miss Kelly and what she's going to be connecting with people on.
Thank you so much.
He is serious.
Thank you so much. Learned my fair share of Vietnamese today. Let's see if I can run the numbers real quick. Mao I ba ban nam sao bai ban ti mao. I did excellent. All right. So, guys, we're going to go ahead and wait. Hold on. Looks like the councilwoman's trying to talk.
The kids.
I was going to say, Zion, the kids did better than you.
Oh, Lord. Dang.
Time to mute. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and kick it over to our next session with Miss Kelly doing arts and crafts for us today.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone today? So we will be doing, I'm going to mute this one. Yeah, I'm going to be doing hydro dip. So it's going to look similar to this. I did this one yesterday. So you can do a bowl, a mug. We're going to do a mug today, but any type of ceramic bowl or dish. It doesn't have to be white. This one was the cheapest one, so I got the white one. But, so I was able to do this one yesterday, and it dries fairly quickly, but, it's a nice little, it could be a nice little gift for someone. So we're going to start. So we need, a bowl of water. I have 2 bowls because I thought my son was going to do it with me, and it appears that he has decided that he doesn't want to do it. So I'm going to put this one on the side. So we're going to do a bowl of water. You need some plastic bags because we're going to, when they dry, you want something to dry it on. And we need either a toothpick or a straw or some sort of skewer, so that you can, twirl it around and make it look nice and pretty.
You should mention also that your project is being viewed in another,
Yes, up here. So you'll be able to see it up here as well.
yes, through
So
the iPhone. The name is under iPhone. You can just look at it through that image over there.
there you go. And then we need polish. Any type of polish you have. We are going to use the purple and gold. Okay, so here we go. You're going to pour some of the polish in, just like that. As much or as little as you'd like. And then once you pour it in, you'll be able to add as you go along. You'll be able to see some things a little, they may change like that. I don't know what color this is, but we're going to add a little bit of this as well. Shake it up a little. Or will it come out? Oh, I may not have any more in here. So maybe we'll just do the purple and gold. How about that? So let's add a little bit more purple. And we'll add And then what you can do, you can take the skewer and you can kind of, change the shape a little bit. Like so. And then it's time for your mug. And so what you do, you can do one of two things. You can either hold it like this and dip the entire thing in, or you can do it to the side. I think I'm just going to go straight down. And once it goes into the water, you can turn and you can capture all of the polish, just like that. Can you see that? And then once you pull it out, that's what you have, just like that. And then what you're going to do is you turn it upside down, which is the reason why we have the plastic bag. You're going to turn it upside down so that it will dry. And it dries fairly quickly, just like that. And then once it dries, then you're able to use it because you're not using the inside of the mug, which would be a problem, of course, with drinking or whatever. But and then also once it's dried and you use it, you have to hand wash it. You cannot put it in the dishwasher because all of the polish will come off. So once you do that and it dries, then you get something like this. And you can do any color, you can even go over it again if you'd like. You can do a bowl, you can do a plate, you can do a cup, a mug, you can do anything you'd like. It's very simple, super easy, and fun. Zion, did you bring your supplies? Did you do it also?
So unfortunately, Zion did not make the run to the store to get his supplies this week.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I can guarantee you next week I will have my supplies, okay?
You will have your supplies.
I guarantee.
So let me just give you guys a brief little um thing as to what we're going to do next week. Okay. So next week, we're going to make these little coasters. Can you see that? So the coasters, for the coasters, you will need, now I did this one, my son did this one actually, and we used a cardstock paper bag, but it was really a thick cardstock, so that he can put this in his room so he does not mess up my furniture, which is the reason why we have this. And it says game on. But so we made these, but super easy. So let me tell you what we're going to need. We will need 4, write this down, Zion. And I'm going to give you some of these, Zion, so you can do it. You can help me out next time.
I'll be there.
Yes. So we're going to need 4x4 tile, just like this. And you can get these from any, Home Depot, any place like that. And usually they may cost like 9 cents, like they're really cheap. You can do any color as long as they're 4x4. And then you can use any type of, you can use a napkin. You can use cardstock. I have cardstock here that we can use because you're just going to cut it out in the size of the tile. So you're going to need that. We're going to need something that is called Mod Podge. Now, if you use glue, white glue, you can use white glue. Mod Podge, in my opinion, holds it a little better, but you can always use Elmer's glue because we're not doing anything, fancy, but cute. So you can use Mod Podge or you can use regular Elmer's glue. And then I usually use cork, but you can use felt. So on the back of this, you need something so that you can put it on the furniture. Some people use cork like that, or but I use felt because felt it's the cheapest. Like this little piece right here cost me I think it was like 20 cents or something, maybe even cheaper than that, maybe like 15 cents. So you just need felt. And then for the last thing that we're going to need is any type of acrylic sealer. So I use the Mod Podge sealer only because it was there, but you can use any type of clear acrylic, because what's going to happen is once all of this dries, you want to be able to spray a coat of the acrylic on there so that when you put a coaster, when you put a glass or a can on the coaster, that it doesn't mess up the integrity of the tile, right? And that's it. It's super simple. This whole thing may cost maybe $5. Maybe even less than that. And that's it. I think that's it. I'm gonna check on our little project here, and it's looking great. It's drying well. So we're just gonna let that dry a little bit longer. And sometimes, I will tell you this, sometimes, depending on how much polish you put in the bowl, it may drip a little, which is fine. It's it makes it to look more um, artistic. And it's cute. You can make these for anyone, just like we did last week. You can make them for teachers in their favorite colors, and you can wrap it up. I have all these. I always buy um, this ribbon. It says handmade, and so I usually, if I'm doing anything like that, I may tie something like this up, or put this in a little a bag and tie it up, and it says handmade, and you can give these to someone. It's a nice gift. What do
So
you think?
for the artwork, is it more for decoration, like more of a kind of decoration gift than an actual use gift? Because is it able to be washed?
This one, the
Yeah.
mug. Yes, you can wash it.
Oh, okay.
Hand wash it. Don't put it in the dishwasher, but you can definitely hand wash it. I've done a couple of these. Like yesterday, I told you we did a bowl.
Hmm.
Um, all of my cereal bowls were broken. They break them all the time. So I just bought some new bowls, and then we decided to do this on yesterday in the colors that I needed. But yeah, so we're gonna take this, but we're gonna hand wash it. But you can definitely use it because it did not, mess up the integrity on the inside. So you can definitely use it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Miss Kelly. And if you guys have any questions for her, any questions about the artsy work, any questions about what's going to be happening next week, um, please go ahead and type them in the chat for us, and I'll go ahead and read them to her. And one person would like to know if you can microwave it after the paint job.
Good question. So no, you cannot microwave it, and I'll tell you why. Because of the nail polish, it will start to melt. So this is literally just if you want to use, like you can use it for coffee because it won't mess up the integrity on the outside. But if you microwave it, then the nail polish will start to melt. So that's a good question. So you don't want to do that. But if you're going to use this for something that you're definitely not going to microwave, or that you're not going to put in the dishwasher, it's perfect.
So is there another kind of how would you say material, kind of another, is that the word? Material that you can kind of use other than nail polish to make it accessible to microwave usage?
Yeah. So you can use, if you want to use acrylic paint, you can use acrylic paint. The acrylic paint would work better, and you could put that in the dishwasher if you use the acrylic paint. The nail polish is just so much easier, I find, for kids as well as cost effective. And it's easier to marbleize the the polish. Yeah. If you use that, yeah.
Okay, alrighty. Let's see how many other questions. Oh, we got a few questions here for you, ma'am. One question is, what's kind of the price looking like if they were to do the paint? Is it because it's much more expensive to?
So the paint, like a little small tube of paint, is probably about this size, which would probably be about, maybe 5 ounces or a little less, or it would probably cost you roughly around $4.
Okay.
So if we're looking at, so I will tell you, this mug, the mug cost me $1 at Dollar Tree, and the nail polish was $1, at Dollar Tree. So, if you're looking to do something that is inexpensive, fun to do, and if you mess it up, it's not a big deal, I would go that route, the polish route. Now, this is something, once you get into it and you want to do something, a little bit more elaborate, because I will tell you this, I have done, those stainless steel mugs, like the Yeti or the like those. You can also do that as well. Now you will have to use the acrylic paint with
Mhm.
that, but you get a bigger bucket and you can do the same thing. Hydro dip those as well, and they come out fabulous. Um, Again, have to be from the stainless steel. You have to hand wash those as well, but they come out beautifully. Um, and so the paint is a little bit more expensive. But if you want to just start experimenting initially to do something just inexpensive, I would use the nail polish.
Sounds much more efficient.
Yeah,
Um, let's see here. We got a few more questions for you, ma'am.
I love it.
One question is more specific to you, and to ask that, do you specifically do crafts or do you do as well as kind of paintings too?
So I'm a craft girl. I'm always doing crafts, just trying to find out. And I'm always experimenting with different things. So, um, I like I like refabbing things, something old into something new. Um, I have painted before. You get those little canvases, and I'm trying to, you can tape them up with the washi tape, and then you can paint over that. And then once you pull the washi tape off, then you have a nice little design, something a little abstract. Um, but yeah, I'm usually a craft girl, if you will.
That's good to know. Excellent to know. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. And is there a certain reason behind it, or is it just that you just like crafts more than painting? Would you dabble kind of in the painting,
I would.
scheme of things?
I would, because to me it's relaxing, very relaxing. Oftentimes, especially the councilwoman will tell you, sometimes you need a getaway
Hmm.
and just to escape and just do something a little bit relaxing. And so to me, crafting or painting, those things are relaxing to me. And unfortunately, I don't get a chance to do them as often as I'd like to. So I'm excited to do this every Monday because it gives me an opportunity to do some things that I love.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's see here. And so, with the crafting, do you feel as though, um, let's say, let me think. Let's say this is Zion's question.
Okay.
Do you, is it possible to somehow pursue a career in this field? Or is it, a little stretch, a little difficult, like, say, any other artistic kind of field, career, so to speak?
I think that it is definitely, I think that's definitely an option. Like if you love doing something
Hmm.
and that is your passion, I think you can always make a career out of it. I think that is, lots of people wake up every morning hating their jobs. They don't like doing what they're doing. And if this is something that you're doing and you've perfected it, I say go for it. There's nothing worse than waking up and not wanting to go, to your job or not wanting to do what you want to do. And if this is what makes you happy, number one, and number two, if you can do something that you love and making money out of it, it's a win-win.
Oh man, that's the plan right there. Okay. Let's see. We got a few more questions for you. One of those questions I would like to ask you is, so one of the questions is, where did you pick up your skill from?
So my mom used to craft when I was young. And she would do anything from making our Christmas bows on our Christmas tree to making candles. She was a crafty person. And so I inherited that trait from her. which I love. It kind of keeps me. My mom is no longer with me, but it kind of keeps me close to her when I'm crafting or doing something that I love doing.
And so you've been doing it since then. We're talking a good couple years.
I'm not gonna say my age. The council member's a little bit older than me, but yeah, I'm no spring chicken.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any more questions for Miss Kelly about craftsmanship, about her recent project that she just did, as well as the project upcoming next week for us, please go ahead and ask her now. She only is with us a couple more minutes before we have to roll over to the next session, guys. So please,
Yeah.
please ask the questions.
Ask the questions.
You
And
have
I
it.
will tell you this. You can see right here. I don't know if you can see this, but I am touching this and it's really dry. So it dries, fairly quickly.
Mhm.
If you have little bubbles, of course, those will take a little bit longer to dry. But yeah, it drives really quickly.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we got another question for you.
All
One
right.
of the questions is, they kind of type this all willy-nilly, but do you work with other crafts artists? And do you talk to other crafts artists? Do you do any kind of work with
So unfortunately, I don't because um, the we work. The job that I have is very demanding.
them?
And so oftentimes when I'm finished work, I'm exhausted. And I don't have time to really interact with anybody else. So when I'm doing a craft, it could be on a Sunday or, a Saturday afternoon when I have literally done everything and I just really want to release and clear my mind. And it's usually by myself. Like, unfortunately, my son he will craft sometimes, but for the most part, he's on the video games. I'm usually crafting by myself, unfortunately. Maybe I can, recruit Zion and he can come and craft with me. But for the most part, I'm by myself, unfortunately. But maybe we can once this pandemic is over, maybe we can, meet maybe in Joe Brown Park
Mm.
and we can bring some crafts and we can do that out there.
Oh, that sounds like a plan. I have nothing on my schedule. Um,
See?
and ladies and gentlemen, yes, I understand where she's coming from. Zion's only been working with the councilwoman's team for just the summer, but let me tell you something. It's it, it you it takes a lot, okay? It takes a lot. It's a lot of work, ladies and gentlemen. So I can definitely understand where she's coming from, but I'm glad that you're able to still find time and make time for your particular interests and things that you really like to do. And another question we have for you is have you ever made something that you give, excuse me, that you gave to a special person in your life or made for a special person?
I do it all the time. I literally do it all the time. I've done Christmas wreaths, Mardi Gras wreaths,
Mhm.
put on the front door, and I've made those and given those away. I've done the tiles like this.
Yes.
Um, you can also do a photograph, and I did some photographs for a friend of mine who they recently got married, and so I did all of their some really nice pictures that I found of them, and put those on the tile and gave them as coasters along with a nice little basket of other things. So I do it all the time. And let me just say this: people love, and I know I do, they love homemade gifts because it's two things. It's personable because it shows that you have taken time out to do something. And it's always, it's of course the thought that counts, but it is really touching when you know that someone has, done something with their hands. You know what I mean?
Definitely understandable. And since you said that, one of the questions I have is there any specific kind of material that, let's say, ignore the expense part of it, that you would get to craft something, like one particular kind of craftsmanship?
So you mean that I've done personally?
Yes, well, it's kind of like a material that no matter the expense, you want it and you want to get it to just play around with it, so to speak.
So I have this, and maybe one day we'll do this. So this craft is a little bit, can be expensive, but I use, epoxy, which is something that you can use for, it's a material that you can use on a lot of different things. You can do it on the floor, you can do it on a table, you can make jewelry with it. So I've done jewelry with it. I've made rings and bracelets and earrings, but I use 14 karat gold leaf. And the 14 karat gold leaf can become costly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it's so beautiful when you do it. So, I've done that, and it's beautiful. And so, yeah, I've done things that's not so budget friendly.
Right. Oh, well, thank you again. And I'm definitely gonna get my materials together for next week just for you.
I'm gonna give you two of these so you can do that with me.
Gracias. And so, again, guys, we're about to wrap up Miss Kelly's session. If you have any last minute questions for her, please go ahead and ask them. Type it in the chat box right here. As well as Miss Kelly, is there anything, last thing you would like to say to everyone?
I just want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to showcase some things that I really love doing.
Well, of course. Well, of course. Well, guys, if there is no more questions, we're just going to go ahead and kick it off to the next session, if you don't mind, Miss Kelly.
I do not mind at all, and I will see you guys next Monday.
All right, sounds like a plan. Thank you so much for her crafty hands. And guys, we're going to go ahead and kick it off to the next session, which is yours truly, moi. Um, so, you are now welcome to Exploring Ecuador. So, if many of you don't know already, Ecuador is in Latin American country in South America. It's along the west coast of South America, and I actually lived there for quite some time, where I learned two languages. That was Spanish and Quechua. Now, today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you a bit of Spanish verbs, so to speak, to help you become a little bit more conversational. Last week, if you guys tuned in, I taught you a little bit about some phrases, a few vocabulary words that most Spanish speakers may use, or most of the times you will hear, to help you become a little bit more proficient in the language. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you a bit of verbs, and I'm going to break it down to you, teach you a bit about the pronouns as well. And we're going to slowly, begin to get a bit more comfortable with you guys learning the language of Espanol. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is see how this works. And I'm going to go ahead and share. Oh, there we go. So there we go. All right. So I'm sharing my screen with you all. And today we're going to learn about the verbs. So as you can see, that's going to keep popping up. All right. The first word you see is pronounced tener. That's Tener, tener, which means to have, okay? And as you can see in this chart, you have yo tengo, tú tienes, él, ella, usted tiene, nosotros tenemos, ellas, estudias en tiene. So basically, as you can see, for the first one, we have yo tengo. The yo, so the first few words in these little columns are called the pronouns. So yo means I. So basically, you're saying yo tengo, you're saying I have. So basically, that's what this is called. It's called a conjugation chart. Okay. Many times in the Spanish language, you have a lot of conjugation charts, and you'll have a verb, and most likely it'll be the to version of the word. So it'll be like to have, to go, to speak, to say, to walk, to run, kind of that way. And what you'll have to do is conjugate it. So, and there's these many different tenses, principles. We're not going to get into all that this time right now, but what this is right now is called the present tense. So it's like yo tengo, I have, like yo tengo cosas, I have things. So it's the present tense. So the first one is yo tengo, which is, as you can see right there. The second one is tú tienes, which means you have. So when you're speaking to someone and you're trying to say they have something, you said tú tienes, you have. Okay? Now, for the next one, we have él, ella, usted, tienen. Now, for this one, because many times in the Spanish language, one word can mean many things. It can have so many different meanings, so many different other things that it could be referring to. So, for this one, él, ella, usted, él is he. But mind you, if you look really closely, there's an accent over the E. You have to always put that accent over the E, because L also means the. Without the accent, it means the. So, L with the accent over the E means he. Ella means she. And usted, I put the abbreviation of it, but the way you spell it is UD. Yes, UDSTES. And so with this one, excuse me, I spelled it so incorrectly. It's UDSTED. I'm so sorry. And so with this one, this refers to a much more general term of things. So you know, and many times, like especially in the English language, we all would say, you know this or you know that, but you're not referring to one specific person. You're speaking generally. Like using the word you, we use it very generally. It's not like we're speaking to one person. Sometimes we use it very generally. That's what the usted means. Usted is using it much more generally, that kind of you form. So for he, she, and you, he, she, you, but the more general version of you, we use tiene, and that's él, ella, usted. Okay, next word, we have nosotros, which is we. That's the Spanish word for we. And the conjugated verb of to have is tenemos. So nosotros tenemos, which means we have. And for our last one, we have ellos, ellas, ustedes. Ellos and ellas mean exactly the same thing, as well as ustedes. I know, guys, it's a lot to process. I hope you got a pen and paper taking notes right now. Ellos, ellas, and ustedes means they. But for ellos, it's the masculine term of it. So also a lot of times in Spanish, we have masculine and feminine. So you would, most of the times if it ends in a O, it's masculine, or OS, it's masculine, because this is plural. So anytime it ends in OS, it's masculine. Anytime it ends in AS, it's female, and it's plural. So many times if you see an A or O at the end, or an AS or OS, OS is masculine, AS is feminine. That's most of the cases. Other times, you have certain words, just like in the English language, you have those words that are just, have their special rules. So learning more about the language, getting and diving into more of the language, you'll begin to learn those kinds of things, okay? So, as I said before, this is the conjugated verb, the conjugated version of tener, which is to have. And as well as, if you look, as I mentioned before, we have yo tengo, tú tienes, all these ones. A lot of the times you don't have to say the pronoun. Like if you're writing the sentence or you're doing a sentence or speaking, you don't have to say yo tengo or tú tienes. You just say tengo, tienes. Like most speakers who are native speakers or spoken the language for quite some time will understand what you're saying. So if you just say tengo cosas. I have things. They'll know that you're saying, okay, you got some things. All right, I understand. Cool. So yes, that is the conjugated chart of tener, ladies and gentlemen. As you see below, I've put together a little sentence there for you guys. We have, tenemos llamar a un restaurante para almuerzo. So this means we have to call a restaurant for lunch. So also, as you can see, if you know that first word and you begin to expand your vocabulary, you might not have known what some of the words in the sentence mean, but because you know what tenemos meant, you know what restaurante meant, and you probably know what almuerzo meant, you're able to kind of come together and kind of dissect like, okay, there's only a few possibilities of what this sentence could be saying, which is the case for learning any language. As our councilwoman mentioned before earlier in her Vietnamese session, in her learning the Vietnamese language, you just got to listen. You got to be more comfortable. Can't be afraid to make a few mistakes when you're speaking a language, okay? So we're going to go ahead and go into our next verb, ladies and gentlemen, rocking and rolling. All right. Next one is ir, which means to go. This is used very, very commonly in the Spanish language. No matter what you're doing, you just say, I'm going to the bathroom, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We say it a lot of times. It's also said a lot in the Spanish language. So with this one, this is our little special fellow right here, as you can see. So with ir, because it's called an irregular verb, so you know how we kind of have our irregular verbs as well. This is considered an irregular verb in the Spanish language. So unlike the ner, where you can just drop the er or change it around a little bit, the er changes completely. There's no specific reason why. It just does. Okay? So, yo boy. Reminding you, if you guys if you were here last week, V and B kind of make that same sound in the Spanish language. So you'll say yo boy. See, I might be saying boy, but I'm not. I'm saying yo boy. So yo boy means I'm going. Tu vas means you're going. Él, ella, usted, which before I told you means he, she, and you generally, is va, just regular VA. Nosotros is vamos. You guys, we all, especially in the English language, we say vamos, vamos on a lot of times. Now you may actually know what it means. It means we're going. Or at times it can also mean let's go. So vamos is for nosotros. And then last but not least, we have ellos, ellas, ustedes, van. All right. And I got a little sentence I put together for you guys as well for this one too. That is, voy comprar esa casa después octubre. So this translates to, you guys should know the first word. I'm going, yes. I'm going to buy that house after October. So again, just learning those little keywords, taking some notes right now to help you better understand and better learn some vocabulary words. And that's honestly kind of what goes into play, especially when learning a language. So when I went to Ecuador, my Spanish proficiency was not at all where I wanted to be, ladies and gentlemen. It was not good at all. I mean, just not good. I might have known like how to say hello, good morning, good afternoon, goodbye. And that was about it. But once I got there, because the only language they spoke was Spanish, the only language they spoke was Quechua, I had to learn the languages to communicate just with the family that I happened to be staying with. And It was difficult, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. It was difficult. But being in that environment, instead of sinking, swimming, you begin to learn, you begin to pick up on things. And a way in which would help me learn better was trying to learn as many vocabulary words as I possibly could, and then beginning to learn these little conjugations right here, beginning to learn how to conjugate properly. But before, all I knew was a bunch of vocabulary words, and that helps you a lot, because if you just put a bunch of vocabulary words together to try and say what you're trying to say, 9 times out of 10 and a half, let's go with that, the people, those native speakers or those that speak the language, can understand what you're trying to say and help you out. Tell you that, oh no, you should put the word here because this is where it's supposed to go. Or it sounds better if you say this, or it sounds better if you use this word. That'll help you out, because now you already know the vocabulary word. Now you know how to properly put it into a sentence and be conversation. All right. That's my little tad bit for you all. Next word we have is hablar. Now, in case you didn't notice, I said hablar. You do not ever, ever pronounce the H in the Spanish language, okay? It is silent no matter what word you're using, no matter the content, no matter the conjugation, no matter the sentence, no matter the place. You never pronounce the H, okay? So hablar is to speak, or sometimes can mean to say. But more often than not, it means to speak. So our conjugated verb in the yo form is hablo, which means I speak. Tú hablas means you speak. Él, ella, usted means he, she, or you generally speak. Nosotros is hablamos, which means we speak. And ellos, ellas, ustedes is they, and then hablan. And I have a sentence for you guys right here. Ellas hablan inglés, pero están hablando español con sus padres. And so that means they speak English, but they are speaking Spanish with their parents. Okay? And also a little habit to let you guys know, a little note you can take down as well. With this, if you look at the sentence, ellas hablan inglés, pero, which means but, están hablando, okay? Hablando is speaking. Many times in the Spanish language, this is the most simplest thing that I learned. If you drop the last two letters, see, hablar is that to form of it, that to speak, to say. If you drop the AR and just add ANDO, or depending on what the word is, see, for tener, you'll drop just the R and you'll put ENDO. That means that's basically ING for us. So it's that ing kind of form. That ing kind of form is basically when you just drop that last letter or drop the last two letters and add NDO. So that's a little habit for you guys so you can know. And last but not least, excuse me, this is not the last one. What's wrong with my eyes? We have this verb, which is, there's no to kind of form of it. There's no to, to have, to take, to do this. There's no to of this word, but it is extremely commonly used in the Spanish language. If I don't know how to say a word or don't know how to say a specific phrase, this is my go-to way of speaking. So, puedo means I can. Puedes means you can. Puede means él, ella, usted. Means he, she, or you, generally speaking, can. Podemos is nosotros, which means we can. And pueden is ellos, ellas, ustedes. They can. Okay? And I got a little sentence here for you. Puedes darme 6 país, which means can you give me 6 feet? Okay. Anytime you're in a store, especially during this time right now, and people are just all up on your tail, when you're in the store, and people are just so close to you, they don't respect the signs on the floor. Just say, and if they speak the language, and you can just say, "Puedes darme 6 país, por favor," which is please. Por favor is please. So if you just say, "Can you please give me 6 feet?" Or "Can you give me 6 feet, please?" And so, yes, that is our kind of the can verb. And last but not least, this is my little friend here. So we have what's called the other kind of irregular verbs, which is and are. Now, is and are is many times the way you use to introduce yourself. It's you always throw is and are in any sentence or conversation you're having. So in the Spanish language, español, you have to know how to properly use those, because if you don't, you can say something that people look at you funny because they're like, "Oh, I don't think that's what you meant to say." Okay, so we have yo. When you're trying to say, let's see, I am trying, you use estoy. There's two ways to say yo. There's estoy and soy. Estoy and soy, as you can see right there, the spelling's right there. When you're using these, estoy is more of how you would say, it's very difficult to explain these things because once you learn it, it's like hard to explain. You just know how to use it. I'm going to try my best for you guys. So estoy is more of the kind of temporary thing. So estoy tratando, which means I'm trying. That's not who I am. It's just something that I'm doing right there. Soy is more of like, that's me. So if I say soy estudiante, that means I am a student. I am a student. There's nothing else I can be right now but a student, because that is what I am. But if I say estoy triste, that means I'm sad. I'm not, that's just a body feeling that just came about. My whole persona is not sad. My whole being is not sad. It's just something that's happening at that moment in time. So for those estoy, estás, está, estamos, están, for those words that begin with E, that's the simplest way we're going to do it. Those words beginning with E is more of that temporary kind of thing. So, as I mentioned in the previous sentence for hablar, we use están hablando. I didn't say son hablando, which is that they version of saying it. I didn't use son because that's not who they are. They aren't speaking. They're not like the definition of speaking. That's just something that they're doing. But let's say that I'm from the United States. So I would say soy de Estados Unidos, because I am from the United States. I cannot be from anywhere else because that's where I'm from. So if you look at this, we have estoy, soy. For the to version, we have estás, eres. So eres ecuadoriana, which means you are Ecuadorian. But since I said Ecuadoriana with that ended in the A, I'm most likely talking to a female. Ecuadoriano, I'm talking to a male. So, but if I say estás cansado, that means that you are tired, but you are not the definition of tired. You're just temporarily tired at this moment. Okay? Hope you guys are getting this. If you have any questions, just ask me, put it in the chat box. For our next one, él, ella, usted, we have está and es. For nosotros, we have estamos, somos. And for ellos, ellas, usted, we have están and son. All right. So if you guys want to, go ahead and take a quick screenshot or take a quick picture of this little screen. Hope you guys were taking notes as well, because I'm going to go ahead and stop the sharing real quick. Yes. All right. And so, that's not what I wanted to do. All right. And so, again, yes, that is what we have for our Spanish language. And again, as I mentioned before, guys, it's just it's a process, okay? You don't want to rush it. You don't want to jump into it. You don't want to feel as though, I need to learn now or I need to get this down packed now, because it's not going to happen. I'm going to be truthfully honest with you guys. I spent approximately a year in another country, and I still don't know the entire language. The entire language is still something that I'm trying to learn. I'm still learning bits and pieces of the Spanish language. And so when you guys just take that time to wanting to learn it, take that time to learning a few vocabulary words, it helps you out better. So again, I'm going to go ahead and run down a few of the verbs to you right now. So tener is to have, and we have yo tengo, tú tienes, él, ella, usted tiene, nosotros tenemos, and ellos, ellas, ustedes tenían, which all means I have, you have, we have, they have, he or she has. That is for tener. The next word was ir, which is our literally regular verb as well. That's voy, yo voy, I'm going. Tú vas, you're going. Él, ella, usted va, he or she is going. Nosotros vamos, and ellos, ellas, ustedes van. And also, I don't think I mentioned, but as especially for that word, I'm going. If you were to ask someone, where are you going? You'll just say, ¿Dónde vas? Which is, where are you going? And also many times when you're using those words, so let's say that back to the tener, to have. If you want to, so you're saying that I have a book, but if you're trying to ask someone, do you have a book? It's exactly the same. With questions or just regular phrases, you use the exact same words. All you do is you put your question mark at the end or in the beginning if you're able to do that as well. You just put the question mark because nothing changes whether it's a statement or a question except for the punctuation. The punctuation will let a person know if this is a question or if this is just a regular statement. So, tienes un libro, which means you have a book. But I can say, ¿tienes un libro? And also when you're speaking, as you can notice, I changed my tone, which will help a person understand when speaking what you're trying to say to them. If you're giving them a statement or you're asking a question. So, ¿tienes un libro? That's just saying, I have a book. Oh, excuse me, you have a book. But if you say, perro, ¿tienes un libro? Like you got a little high pitchedness in your voice to help them understand that you're trying to ask them a question. You're trying to ask them if they have a book. So, and our last one was is and are, which is another irregular verb, as I mentioned before to you guys. It has those two meanings. One, that's kind of a temporary situation. You're talking to someone, but you're speaking in a temporary sense. So when you're saying that estamos cansados. I'm gonna use that again because I can't think of another word right now. We are tired. But if I say estamos ecuadoriano, that would be incorrect because I am Ecuadorian. That is what I am. So I would, instead of saying estamos, I would say somos, which is we are Ecuadorian. Well, I mean, we're Ecuadorian. So that is our verbs for today, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions for me, any phrases or words that you would like me to help translate for you, any of those things, please go ahead and type them in the chat box for me, and I'll definitely answer them as best as I possibly can. And we have a question already. So someone asked me how many years or what's the amount of time that I've been studying Spanish before uh, I went to Ecuador. So, technically speaking, back in high school, I studied Spanish for about 3 years. Like I was in Spanish class for 3 years, but I wouldn't constitute that as studying. So I knew a few words here and there. Like if the word would come up, I'll be like, wait, 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 wait. I know what that means. But actually having a conversation with people, having talks on the phone, having face-to-face conversations, being able to speak, being able to talk a little normally like I am talking now. Before now, I was not able to do that. Before Ecuador, I was not able to do that. It's a whole different feel of learning from within a classroom and learning in an actual environment where every single person speaks the language. And you're going to be lost if you don't pick up the language. So I did not really. I had the class of Spanish. I learned a few words, maybe a little phrase, one or two, three here and there. But knowing the language to the way and the proficiency in which I know it now was nowhere close. And as I mentioned before to you all, I said there were two languages. There were Spanish and Quechua. Quechua is, again, the kind of what I call it and what they call it at times as well, this kind of hidden language. It's kind of a lost language, so to speak, not hidden, lost. And it's a language of indigenous and Native American people. And so when they speak it, they kind of communicate between themselves because they'll know that other people within the country are not going to understand them. So there's basically three cultures: indigenous, mestizo, and black. So when the mestizos are around like indigenous people or the black are around indigenous people, they will not understand them when they're speaking Quechua because they didn't grow up around that or they didn't learn that. So for indigenous people, when they learn Quechua, they learn it at the same time they're learning Spanish. So it's like, you know how people most times, like for me, I speak Spanglish, like I speak English and Spanish. For them, they speak Spichua. That did not sound good. But yes, that's what they speak. They speak Spanish and Quechua. And so I speak my fair share of Quechua. Very, very, very little people. But yes, I speak my fair share of Quechua, and it definitely is one of the hardest languages since I speak three languages now, but it was very hard to learn that language, especially because like our councilwoman earlier was doing Vietnamese. A lot of the words and phrases sound so familiar and sound so alike. It's hard to differentiate if you're saying this or if you're saying this. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for exploring Ecuador. I actually will have some special little friends for you guys next week. I will introduce you to my little friends, and we're going to be a bit more conversational with them, as well as I'm going to teach you a bit more phrases and help you learn how to listen a bit better when hearing someone speak Spanish and become a bit more comfortable with responding with the little bit of Spanish that you have, and help the person that you're speaking to better understand what you're saying. So Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to our morning sessions of our District E virtual summer experience. We have our afternoon sessions planned for you guys at 1:30, beginning with Chef D cooking up some delicious treats for us. And so make sure you guys come back at 1:30 to tune in for that. And thank you guys so much again. Muchas gracias. Ali Shamushka. And you guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much for tuning in.